Welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining me. My name is Craig Monroe. I'm the founder and the editor of Elegant Literature. I'm joined today by RJ Joseph, our guest judge for the contest Sinister Sanctuaries. Rhonda, thank you so much for joining us. It's been a pleasure to have you.
Oh, thank you so much for having me, Craig. Oh my gosh, I love reading great stories. And so this was a really, really exciting thing to do.
It is a lot of fun. I love doing it, and I'm so glad you enjoyed it. And of course, we're joined today by Julia Wilkins, the $3,000 award winner of the Elegant Literature Contest for New Writers. Julia, you wrote an amazing story called Rot. It's just fantastic, and we're here to talk about it all today, and we're so happy to have you. Congratulations on winning that $3,000 award. How are you feeling right now?
Oh my gosh. Thank you so much. I'm actually so stoked. I'm really, really, really happy. So, yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I hope so, and I'm glad. So this was the 42nd issue of Elegant Literature in which your story appears, Sinister Sanctuaries. For anybody who hasn't read it yet, the magazine is free on our website, elegantliterature.com, as are all of the previous issues. So it's something like 422 stories now, 42 award winners, of which Julia is the most recent. Some fantastic stories that will keep you reading for probably a couple of weeks, even if you're fast. So you can go check that out, and especially go read Julia's story, Rot, if you haven't, because it is absolutely fantastic. And the rest of this conversation will make so much more sense if you do. Before we get started, Julia, do you want to take 30 seconds to a minute? And you don't worry about spoilers. Everybody should have read it by now. Can you tell us what Rot is about and what it means to you, kind of briefly?
Oh gosh. Okay. Rot is a horror-inspired story. It's about the protagonist Laura, who is just arrived home, and because home is the like ultimate sanctuary, I guess, but home is not quite entirely right, and she's kind of dealing with what it means to come back somewhere and to have it all changed. But she starts like hearing things and smelling things that she can't actually see. So she's a little bit of an unreliable narrator throughout, and she's meeting her family, who her mum is quite happy to see her. Her dad, at first, she's really worried he isn't, but they all are very happy to see her. And they're wanting her to stay at home. Her younger brother is warning her that she needs to leave, and she's starting to experience some kind of creepy stuff that's going on, like hearing the flies buzzing, and she can smell these like rotting plums outside, but the tree looks fine, the grass looks fine. And then she learns from her neighbor her family actually died, and she did not know that. So she goes back into the house, and her family are actually ghosts, and what she has been seeing has not been the truth. It hasn't been quite real. And yeah, then she has to deal with the consequences of her family being dead, and them wanting her to remain with them. Yeah.
Yeah, fantastic. And what a great read. I know Rhonda said to me on numerous occasions now how fantastic the story is and how excited she is to
Yes.
speak with you. And Ron, I'm going to have to have you hold on for just a minute more. I'll ask a couple more questions, betting at the leash here. But Julia, fantastic stuff. This is, I believe, your fourth publication with Elegant Literature. Is that right? We have The Intimacy of Hating You in our Mundane Magic issue, in that was September 2024, I think. Yeah, so last year. And then after that we have The Weeping Girl in the Fearsome Folklore issue, and and Stolen Melodies in April of 20, oh, Loud Music and Dark Places, the very recent, just the last one. And then finally, this is your fourth publication with us, which, fantastic that you won, because after this, you would have been ineligible for Elegant Literature since we are an award for new writers. So right on the cusp of that threshold. It's fantastic that you won it. Congratulations once again. And if I'm correct, your mother won the award a year or so ago. Is that right?
Yes, she did. Yeah, so she's a really, really good short story writer, and she's encouraged me so much to
Oh,
actually
good.
be a writer as well and to write.
Well, this is the first mother-daughter team that has won the awards. I guess it's not a team because you won them separately, but it is
Right.
just for me. This is really fantastic. It's sort of a multi-generational family of award winners here. So clearly, a lot of
Uh-huh.
talent for writing wrapped up in this family. Can you tell me, Julia, what was it like when you found out that you were a winner? Like, where were you? What happened when you saw your name in the magazine? Saw a contest winner? Did you tell your mom first? Did you keep it from her? What happened?
I was actually at school, and I'd kind of forgotten that the magazine was coming out. But then I saw I got an email from my dad actually, and it was like, Julia, OMG, check Elegant Literature. And I was like, oh, yay, have I got published? And then I checked it and I saw, yeah, that I'd won. And I had to like control myself because I was in class. So I was like just sitting there, like bouncing really quietly, really happily. And yeah, then as soon as I got home, my family was so happy for me, and we were all cheering.
Fantastic. I would
Oh,
have thought
that's
that you would have
awesome.
taken the opportunity in class to start screaming, kind of be like, well, class is done for the day. We're going to focus on now. Well, that's great. It's always great to hear that kind of thing. So let's get into it. I'm going to pass this off to Rhonda first. I would like to mention that this is a very international call. Rhonda, I believe you're in Texas, right? Is it Austin or
Yep,
Dallas?
I'm in Texas, right outside of Houston.
Right, Houston. Oh, of course, the third one.
Yeah.
Yes. So Rhonda is in Houston, Dallas, Texas, in the States. I am from Toronto, Canada, but I'm currently out in Nova Scotia, so a totally different time zone. And Julia, you are in New Zealand. Whereabouts in New Zealand are you?
I'm in Auckland,
Auckland, right
so
on. So
it's
that
North Island. Yeah.
okay, and that's why all the lighting is very different for all of us right now as well. This might be the
Uh-huh.
most international call I've done with Elegant Literature. I'm not sure. But let's get into it because we want to know all about your story and about your history as a writer, not just with the other three publications of Elegant Literature, but when you got your start, where you're going. I have high expectations for you now based on the strength of your writing, but we'll get to that. Rhonda, again, thank you for joining us. Thank you for suggesting the theme for this contest and for reading the the short list and selecting Ron as the winner. I have complete agreement with that. Can you tell anybody who maybe is watching this and not familiar with you what kind of work you've done, what your writing journey before you take over and we get into Julia's work?
Oh, sure. So I am an academic and creative writer. I'm writing predominantly in horror right now. And so a lot of my work talks about those intersections of race, gender, and class in the horror genre. And my academic work does a lot of that stuff too. I recently worked with the publisher Raw Dog Screaming Press on their new novella line. And so that was a really fun thing to do in acquiring those and seeing how they've made this huge impact on the horror genre already. One of them, uh, a couple of them showed up on the Bram Stoker preliminary award list, but one of them is actually made it to the nominee list. And so I'm thinking this is a wonderful thing, right? Yeah, so I've been doing this for quite a bit of time, kind of have some award nominations of my own, and I'm just really excited to be able to see what talent there is out there so I can kind of know who to look for in the future.
Yeah, fantastic. Elegant Literature is full of that upcoming talent. If you want to watch anywhere, I think you want to watch Elegant Literature as our award winners. We're just coming up for anybody who doesn't know, I think we're just passing our 3.5 year mark right now, halfway through our third or fourth year. I don't know what the numbers really are there, but we've got 42 issues out, and a lot of our authors that we published in the past are now starting to put out their debut novels and their novellas, and they're traditionally publishing, they're self-publishing, they're all over the place. And with talent like Julia here, I expect we're going to have lots of success stories over the next few years as the new writers kind
Yeah.
of find their ground and enter the industry. So I'm glad that you're with us on that.
Yes. Yeah, I'm really excited. I mean, the first thing that I would want to know is I am a huge fan of all that Craig is doing here, not just for newer writers, but for the industry in general, because I'm noticing that the classes that Elegant Literature offers, these are really important things that writers need to know that that so many of us kind of had to learn the hard way. So I think the first thing that I'd like to know is, how has your experience been here with Elegant Literature? Like, how did you come to this wonderful place in your journey?
Wow. Elegant literature has meant so much for my writing journey. So obviously my
Nice.
mum, who is a writer, she like introduced me to elegant literature, and
Okay.
it's incredible because it's not only for new writers, but also the payments at like 10 cents a word is so good, and there's honorable mention payments, and when you get your story published, it just feels so special, and to see like your name in the story, it's so cool. And yeah, like to be able to send the magazine, which is for free as well, to friends and family
Right.
to then read the work. Oh my gosh, it's so good. I've been telling all of my friends to submit, and they're really keen. So I've got two friends who are gonna start submitting to Elegant Literature now, which is really exciting.
Oh, excellent. This is wonderful. I'm really glad to see the impact that Elegant Literature and Craig here are making. Because this is huge. Like I say, there's so many of us writers who kind of stumbled and bumbled our ways through, but you all have Craig, so this is wonderful.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Julia, thank you for your words. Rhonda, thank you for asking the questions that we can use as advertising and promotional purposes. Uh, but I appreciate it. I do my best. Now, let's
Gosh,
focus
so
on Julia. Let's focus on Julia
yeah,
here.
let's talk about this story. Oh my goodness, what is your inspiration? Was there a particular writer or besides the theme itself that inspired you to do this? Where did this story come from?
Oh, I'm not even entirely sure, to be honest. I think for me, my I don't really like plan out my stories. They kind of come from just like an idea, and then I kind of go from there. So I think what really I loved the Sinister Sanctuaries theme so much,
Mm,
and I was like trying to think about what kind of stories I might want to write about that, and that's when I came up with the idea of like home being this like the most sanctuary place of all. And then I wanted to twist that and be like, what happens when home isn't like safe, when it isn't the sanctuary? And
mm.
that's what I explored through that. And then the story just kind of unfolded.
Oh, that's great because I everything that you said about your story when you described it in the beginning, I'm like, yep, that's it. That's exactly what this story did. Do you feel uh what do you think about the fact that it also conveys some deeper ideas? Like for me, not only was it very reminiscent of Poe, who's one of my all-time favorite writers, with this unreliable narrator, and also there's Freud's uncanny that's all throughout your story. But there's also the idea that home is not just that home is not a sanctuary, but that home is actually a place that could kill you, that could stifle your growth, that could stifle your literal life. I mean, like this story is like a poster child for dysfunctional families. Did you think it all about that when you were writing it?
No, actually, not really. It just kind of came from that idea of twisting kind of home on its head. And yeah, no, I didn't kind of realize time what half of what I was writing was.
Well, and that's the wonderful thing about writing is that we send these messages. We have these things that readers can get so much out of, whether we purposely put the messages there or not, right? So thank you for that. It was a really wonderful story. It's something that I would definitely like to use in one of my classes, simply because there's so
Ooh.
much there. There's so much there. Like there's so much for people to kind of dig into. And what does this mean? And you use literary devices so expertly. Where did you get your start in writing? When did you start writing down your thoughts?
It actually started before I could really write, I'd say, because my mum used to get me and my sister to like dictate our stories to her, and then she'd type them up for us.
Oh, nice.
And
Man,
which is really cool.
Anne's determined that you're going to be a storyteller.
Exactly.
Yeah. So that was probably the start. And then I moved on when I could actually write, writing like picture books about our cats that we had, and I'd draw all the pictures with them. I've still got all these stories. They're like in a big folder, so it's quite cool to look back on them actually and see how far I've come. And then when I got a bit older, we had this like story competition here in New Zealand for like kids. I'm pretty sure it was called the Fabo competition, but it's been stopped now. So we used to like write stories for that and submit those. And that was quite cool. So I feel like I've kind of always been writing since I was like a little kid. And part of that is a huge thanks to my mum.
Did you go through any breaks in writing? Like I know a lot of writers I spoke to have similar stories where we kind of start out when we're quite young, we get into reading, we get into storytelling ourselves, and then somewhere in kind of the high school to university era of our lives, we have a lapse where we're not writing. And I think you're a little bit younger, right? You're still in high school?
Yes,
Yeah.
last year of
So
high school.
as I was saying this, I was like, oh, you might not have come to the gap in the writing. If you're winning awards right now, you probably didn't have that gap. Have you been writing pretty consistently since those cat pictures and those dictating to your mom before you could type and probably spell?
No, I would say there's definitely been gaps. They haven't been too long though. But yeah, there were kind of gaps through some of my later years of primary school. And then I got a story published in the Toy Toy Journal in year 8. So that was really, really cool. And that was my intermediate teacher, Mr. Thomas, who encouraged me to write and submit that story. So shout out to him. Yay! And then up until year 10 in high school, I also had a break. But then there was a short story competition. Actually, I think it was one my mum found again, and she's like, "Oh, you should submit to this." So I wrote a story for that, and then it won that. So that was really, really cool. And it was only a 750 word story, so it was really short. And I just did it about like windsurfing on the lake. And yeah, that kind of inspired some writing again. But then after that, there was another break up until December 2023, which was when I started submitting to Elegant Literature, and being able to submit every single month for that. Oh, my writing has grown so much. So yeah, thank you
Nice.
again so much for this
That
opportunity.
That is the goal, and that's one of the biggest refrains I hear is that people who take it seriously and don't let, not getting published, not getting an honorable mention the first couple of issues and first, however long it takes, not letting that get them discouraged and kind of and quitting because of, oh, I'm not going to be able to do this, but sticking with it month after month and writing a story. And then, you said you started in December 2023 and your first publication was September 2024, something. So that's, 8, 9, 10 months later but your writing is improving. And now here you are, like 6, 8 months after that, 10 months after that, less than a year, and you racked up 4 publications in total and you won the award. And not only that, you've just gone from winning the award to having your work taught in classrooms, apparently, based on Rhonda's last comment. So, there you go. That's pretty sweet. And goes to show that your writing has definitely improved. But all the stories that we published, I'm looking back, and there's kind of a common theme of sort of a lyrical, kind of almost haunting bent to the writing, the intimacy of hating. Your titles are also just great. The intimacy of hating you, and the last one, stolen memories. That's the one with the music box and the kind of creepy demon type guy. Yeah, super cool stories.
Yeah.
Rhonda, you'll like them all if you go back and read them for sure.
Yes. Okay. So that leads me to my next question then. I mean, being a horror girly myself, I'm really interested in, do you usually write horror? Is this story pretty indicative of the genre that you're kind of writing in, or are you experimenting with lots of different things right now?
I would say I'm definitely experimenting with lots of different things. Throughout, yeah, submitting to Elegant Literature, I've written in so many different genres and styles of like voice, which has been really, really cool to play around with. But I do have a soft spot for horror, and actually, Stolen Melodies and The Weeping Girl are also both kind of horror thrillers. So I'd say I do quite like writing in the horror genre as well. Yeah.
You're very good at it. So yeah, that there's that. You're very good at it. So yeah, I really, really hope to see more from you in this genre. And a lot of times, so being a really good writer though means being a really good reader. What are you reading, or what are some of your favorite books or stories that you read?
Ooh, I love reading so much. Favorite books? Oh, my absolute favorite book I've ever read is called I Kissed Shara Wheeler by Casey McQuiston. That one,
Mhm.
oh, it's so good. I love how the titular character of Shara, she's not only the love interest, but she's also the like antagonist and the villain. And I just
Mhm.
love that kind of dynamic that she has with the protagonist, Chloe, and seeing their kind of story unfold as, yeah, both rivals and then kind of falling in love. I also really, really love the book Villains by Victoria E. Schwab. That is also one of my favorites. And without that one, I also really love the characters in that because they're all super morally gray. None of them are like good people. They're all super flawed, and that just makes them so interesting. And I also really love the dynamic that the two kind of main characters have with each other because they used to be like best friends and like colleagues, I guess. It's like scientists together, and then they become like enemies. And it's a non-linear book, so it jumps between like present and the past. So yeah, I really like those two books. Those are my two favorites.
Okay. So as far as characterization goes, like when we're talking about creating characters, how did you develop your characters for Rot? Are they based on people that you know? Are they maybe just you just created them from scratch? How did you create
Are
those
they your
wonderfully
family?
nuanced characters?
They're definitely not
Are
inspired
you
by my
Laura?
father.
Have you got a neighbor that you don't want reading this story?
No. I'm not sure. I feel like none of my characters are ever based on like real people, but
Mm,
obviously they're all kind of made up of the people I've met and people I've seen or wanted to meet. Um, and yeah, that kind of makes them unique, but obviously very human. And they're kind of pulled out parts from lots of different people and myself. So, yeah. What about you guys when you write? Do you base your characters on people that you know?
oh
Well, you go
yeah,
first.
all the time. All the time. But since I write horror, you have to kind of do a little bit different things, So I never write where somebody can recognize themselves, right? So I can always have that disclaimer. That's not you. But I'm an avid eavesdropper, people watcher. So I'm always filing people's characteristics away to go write about later. So yeah, all the time.
True writers are lurkers and creeps.
Uh-huh. Yes.
Yeah, I also, I mean, I've done both. I've made things up completely for what's necessary for the plot and what's things I've done self-insert ones, often just because it's fun. And I was trying pantsing, for example, when I did the self-insert. So it's still like, it's still not me, but it's somebody that is like basically same, very similar life experiences and place in their life. And I made it really easy to
Mhm.
sort of pants my way through that story. Because it was a story I was writing while I was on commute to and from work and things. So
Mhm.
I wrote it was a novella. I wrote it entirely like on the subway and on the bus on my phone, making it up every single time. And doing that sort of self-insert was easier because it was like, oh, it's just somebody like me. What would I do in that situation? And I could kind of go from there, even though it was a fictional character, building an arc for that person that made sense within
Mhm.
that world while still trying to juggle that was a little bit trickier. I've done other ones where I've had different traits from various friends, and I've tried to combine different things into a person. Or I've taken something that I found really interesting that a friend does, a quirk or like a habit that they have or something like that, and sort of tried to build the character around that for a story to make it more interesting. So it's all sorts of different ways. I don't have a preference at the moment. Yeah.
So and Craig brings up being a pantser. So I'd really like to know, what is your writing process like? Are you a pantser? Are you a plotter? Are you something different, something in between? What is your writing process like? And kind of walk us
No,
through that.
I'm definitely a pantser as well. So yeah, I often just start with the idea of like a character dynamic.
Hmm.
And the other day I was actually writing a story where I only had the dynamic between the characters. I didn't know who they were. I didn't even know what genre the world was, the story was. I didn't know what the world was. So that was quite fun, just writing the story and figuring out kind of what the story was. So yeah, that's pretty much the same for all my stories. I have an idea. Sometimes it's more fleshed out. Sometimes it's really not fleshed out, and I just kind of write from there because I think it's really fun to just chuck your characters in a situation and let them deal with it, and then write about whatever they do.
Yeah, for sure. Just what can we do to them? How bad can we make their day? Speaking of writing process, really quickly on this, and I mean, from the moment we start listening to you speak, it's evident this, but or evidently not this, I should say. But I know a lot of people might be wondering, and we'll get it on record on the video here. You know, your mom won the award last year. She got published with us, I think, three or four times as well. Won the award, and next month you start getting published in the magazine, and half a year later you've won the award. I mean, it's obvious from listening to you speak that you are knowledgeable about storytelling and you have your own joy and craft. How, like, does your mom help you edit, or do you brainstorm with her? Do you work with your mom at all on the storytelling, because you have somebody else who's obviously very skilled in the house? And I'm not saying like your mom didn't write it for you. Something like that. It's very clear but I'm wondering, how much does that, how much of a boon is that for you to have somebody, you're not just your parent. Lots of writers have parents. They're kind of like, oh, it's their art, it's their hobby. I don't get it. I hope that they make money with it. And you got a lot of parents like that. You got a lot of parents that are very supportive, but they don't really get it. And it's things like that. Sometimes it's very difficult to have a writing community. So what it has been like, besides your mom pushing you since before you could like write, to be a storyteller, what's it like living with somebody like that? I assume you live together. And how has that played
Yes.
into your writing and your process and your development and all that?
No, my mum's amazing. Um, Sometimes, not often, I've like talked to her about like a story concept if I've gotten like stuck somewhere, and that just helps because she'll just keep asking me questions and like making me come up with solutions or ideas around that. Um, and I always give my stories to everyone in my family to edit. Actually, it's same with my mum, so it's quite cool. We always, whenever someone's written a story, it always gets passed around to just get the fresh eyes on it and pick up on like little minor things as well as anything bigger. Like if people might like my mum or my dad or my sister don't understand something in the story, then I'm like, oh, okay, back to the drawing block, and have to rewrite something to make it easier to understand in the way I wanted it to come across. Yeah, but she's so cool as well because she always has like the insider knowledge on like short stories, competitions, and where to submit things to. So she'll often like send me links like, here's the new like competition you could submit to, that kind of thing. Um, yeah, she's so great.
That is great. And does your sister write as well? Are we expecting like a third Wilkins to come in here trying to claim the prize for the family here?
My sister is actually also a published author, but she stopped writing. Um, I'm not sure when, but she would write as well when we were younger. When I won as well, she seemed quite determined. She's like, "Oh yeah, maybe I should start writing and submitting." So I'm not.
Can't be the only one without the award.
Yeah, she's very busy though, so she's studying law and biology at university. So I'm not sure if she will find the time, but she's she might start submitting as well because I think she'd be quite keen to win some money. Yeah,
That would be
and
amazing.
And a sort
my
of
dad,
oh, go ahead.
oh sorry, my dad as well is also actually a published author.
Oh.
For him though, his story is a 6-word story that he got published. and
Hey,
he likes to really rub it in. He's like, "Oh yeah, I'm a published author as well," for his six-word story, which
yes.
got published in the book. Yeah, so that's quite cool.
Okay,
That's
that is really cool. Yes, that's really cool. It's you know how hard it is to write a
hard to get
story
a
in six
short one like that.
words.
Just tell a story in that. Yeah, I love
Yes,
it.
yes.
Do you, a final question, sort of in this family household of writer vein, is do you find your writing sort of converging in like in style and tone at all with, you're passing around and if you and your mom are kind of the big writers at the moment, do you find that your writing stylistically starts to become more similar or become more divergent or little bits of both and what makes the difference in that?
No, I'd say definitely because I know we read in like quite different books and genres. So
Yes.
obviously that influences a lot of the writing style. I'd say my mum as well, she writes a lot of sci-fi. I don't really write sci-fi. The one sci-fi story I tried to write, I thought it was so good, and then I gave it to my family to read, and they just didn't really get it. I was like, oh no. So yeah, because we write in quite different genres and we read in different genres, our writing style is quite different.
Fascinating. Yeah, I thought it might be something. And if you're reading in different genres, like that's gonna be different, I think. I think what
Uh-huh.
you read influences what you write such a significant degree that, all you have to do is just don't read the same books and you're not gonna have the same writing style, really. All right. All right. Enough of me. I was just fascinated by this whole family dynamic. I've been waiting
Yeah.
to speak to it. As soon as I saw your name come up in the winner, I was like, oh, yes. I'm going to find out all about this family of writers. But Rhonda, let's go back to you asking the questions.
Oh yes, no, this is, I mean, inquiring minds want to know. Like this is fascinating. I don't know that a lot of writers, we are not that lucky, to have other people in our house where who can actually we can actually commiserate with and like kind of collaborate with in that way. So that's really cool. Um, one thing that I'd like to know though is do you think that you will branch out from short stories? Can you see yourself writing other forms?
Yes, I've been getting into poetry lately, as recently, which has been quite fun. So I've been quite enjoying that, and I'm hoping to maybe submit some poetry to a couple of places, which would be cool. I also, since like intermediate, I started trying to write a novel. That's fizzled out. I've rewritten it so many times that I've kind of put it to the side for now. Um, but yeah, at the moment, short stories, poetry, and some kind of longer short stories as well, I've been playing around with. But I feel like my discipline can be pretty bad. And once I get bored with a story, I kind of just push it to the side and I
Ooh,
struggle to.
that's going to be hard to write novels. Fortunately, discipline's a skill that you can, decide you want to work on.
Yeah.
Mm.
Oh, sure. Well, also though, if the story isn't grabbing you, to where you can see it to its completion, it's very possible that that may not be the story that you need to write at that time anyway. And so when you find something that you can latch on to and focus on for quite a bit of time, that may actually be your novel then. So there's still hope. There's still hope.
Thank
um,
you.
Yes. What do you think about 10 years from now? If you could time travel 10 years into the future, what would you like to see having happened with your writing?
You're taking my questions, Rhonda. That's my fallback question.
Well, I am very interested in this question, this answer, because you are coming out of high school. So I mean, in 10 years, you could literally do anything. So, like, what would you like to see happen
Your
with your writing in these
your
10 years?
acceleration coming out of high school too. Here, there's been like what I think like 8 months or something since you started getting published. It's been less than a year and a half, like 16 months maybe
Hmm.
since you started submitting to Elegant Literature. And I know you've been writing for a long time, and all that plays in. But it feels like maybe you're taking it a bit
Hmm.
seriously now. You started in December of last year, and you submitted regularly month by month, and then you started getting publications, and now you've won an award. Like there's a whole lot that's possible for you in the next 10 years. What
Yeah.
what is it that you want? What do you hope for?
Ooh. Um, I think because I'm 17 at the moment and I'll be 18 in August, that means that will open up a whole lot more like
Hmm.
competitions I can submit to, because there are quite a few that are like you have to be like 18 years old to submit.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
that will getting to enter some more competitions. I'm also an actor, so I would really like to write some like screenplays or some scripts, which would be really cool. In media
Nice.
studies this year, we got to make like a short film. I got
Mhm.
to make that with a couple of friends. That was horror actually as well, a psychological horror film. So
Of
really
course it
fun.
was.
That going up on YouTube? Can we put a link right here on the finished product of this video to like show people where that horror film
Yeah.
is going up?
I'm not sure if we can put it up yet because it's like a internal assessment and we
Mm.
use like copyrighted music for the assessment, but we're hoping
Sure,
to submit it to a
it's a
couple.
school thing. It's not really meant to be
Yeah,
like a full
Mhm.
production.
yeah, but we're hoping to submit it to maybe a couple of like youth New Zealand film festivals, and then we'll have to revamp it so it's not copyrighted music, and then maybe it will go up on YouTube, which would be pretty cool.
Mhm.
Yeah. Um, Sorry, back to the question. Yeah, so I would love to be writing obviously more short stories, more poetry, and yeah, screen and script plays would be really, really cool. And I'd also love to have some novels published one day, but we'll see how that goes. Because, yeah, I think I just need to dig in and be writing like every day to, yeah, have a
For
novel
sure.
published eventually. And I need more time for that.
And as you know, and just novels are often the sort of almost a default or stereotypical career path for writers. Like it's something that is kind of just like we grew up reading novels, and it's kind of like I'd like to write novels. I love stories, but it's like novels take up a lot of time and a lot of dedication to do. And if you've got all these other interests going on, especially the acting and the screenwriting and that kind of thing, novels might not make sense until you've got more time in your life or something, or you got the ability
Mhm.
to be like, I'm going to go away for 3 months and write this novel I've always wanted to do, rather than, being like, I should be writing a novel because I've done shorts. I want to more for a short story. Let's move on to novels when it's not necessarily, what you want to do right now. I mean, writing a feature length screenplay is less words than a novel. So I'm not
Mhm.
downplaying how much work it takes to put into that
Mhm.
storytelling medium, but it is less words and less, overall sit down at the keyboard and type hours. And it could be that is a very good, that better to go for a screenplay first step rather than a lot of people will go for novels and then maybe do screenplays on the side or something. It's all out there. I also feel like screenplays
Mm.
could make you money in the if we're talking about career
Yeah.
wise.
Yeah, well, I mean, well, one thing that I've found about screenplays is that they make remarkable outlines for novellas and novels. So, I mean, just kind of throwing that out there, that's how I use them right now is I write the screenplay, and then that is kind of my roadmap for the
That's
novella or trying to expand into the novel. So, I mean, they work
that's
together
so
really well
smart.
that way.
I've not actually. I don't think I've heard anybody tell me that they write the screenplay as deliberately as the outline. Like lots of people
Yeah,
will,
yeah.
they'll write an outline, not turn it into a screenplay. They'll write an outline for a
Hmm.
novel. If
Well, it
they
makes
have a
the outlines
screenplay, hmm,
Yeah, it makes outlining more fun because now you have actually two products instead of just one, right? So you kind of have the screenplay to shop around on that side, you have the novella to shop around on the other side.
I
Yeah,
like
they
that.
work really well together like that for me anyway.
I'm gonna have to start doing that. It's just running elegant literature. I don't seem to have enough time to sit down and like, just take on a project. I'm like, oh, I want to write the novel that I have an idea for, but it's like
Yeah.
I don't have enough time to take on that project. Or I start and I write like, I spent an hour the other day. I had an idea, so I wrote the scene. It was like 500 words, and I'm like, I'm not gonna. When am I gonna have the time to write the other 95,000 word 90 like?
Uh-huh.
I just, it's just such a big project. But making an outline that is a screenplay is a good way to scratch the
Yeah,
creative itch for sure. I like that.
sure, sure.
Nice. So, Julia, did you write the screenplay for the short film that you did with the students with your class? Did you write that, or are you just
Um,
acting in it? Do you want to write screenplays?
Yes, so me and my two friends, Dash and Zara, we were put in like our group together for our assessment, and all of us collaborated on that screenplay, and then helping to direct it, obviously, all as a group. So that was really cool as well, actually getting to like bounce ideas off each other, and write and edit the dialogue all as a group. Because normally I feel like I'm quite like an individual person, and I'm always wanting, no, like my idea.
Full control.
But there's, yeah, they're so good to work with, and we actually work really well as a group together to create something. And yeah, and then me and Dash also acted in that with some of our friends, so that was really fun as
Fantastic.
well to then
Are
get to play a character.
are a lot of your friends also writers or very creative people in general?
Most of my friends are actually actors. I'm like part of the theatre kid crowd. But yes, there's quite a bit of overlap, I feel, where a lot of my friends write like poetry or short stories. One of my friends, Polly's, written lots and lots of novels, which is super impressive. And at school, I'm on the like editing committee for our school arts journal, which is called Parallax. So that's really cool getting to talk with other writers, and poets and people who do art and photography, and just be in a space, yeah, where we can talk about that kind of thing, and edit like submissions that come into the journal, and yeah, provide a space for our school's talented art students to have their work published.
Geez, Rhonda, it sounds like Julia's got the exact life and upbringing that every writer would be jealous of. Just
Exactly.
surrounded
Right,
by creative
right.
friends and supportive parents and immersed in the craft. Man, no
Yes,
wonder you're so good at writing and telling stories, and it's no wonder
yes,
you won this award. Well, 10 years from
yes,
now, we're gonna revisit this, and we're gonna hold this up and say, and you're gonna say, "Oh, I've blown all those ideas out of the water. I've got all these other awards and all these other accolades and all these projects that have
yes.
finished. I'm successful, and well, I expect fully big things from you now, having listened to all of this. No pressure, but it seems like you have the right attitude towards it from the things that you've talked about, the willingness to do it month after month after month with elegant literature before seeing any success. And and putting in the effort and having surrounding yourself with the community of doing it and relinquishing some creative control in order for the collaboration to have a project. Like everything that you're saying are things that I have heard from lots of people as like the good traits for finding
Mhm.
success in a creative industry,
Yeah,
and a good attitude for it. So I fully expect, and not saying like this is depression. I'm saying I fully expect from this attitude that if you continue to pursue these things, that you'll find success. Basically, who know, it doesn't matter how long it'll take. It's just going to happen,
yes,
eventually if you approach it the way you're approaching it.
yes.
Or
Agreed. Totally agreed.
we're here to give you an award. So that's great. Fantastic. All right. I know we're coming up to sort of the hour mark of when we started a little bit late. Rhonda, we got, a little bit more time if you want to ask, some final questions that you got a burning desire to know. We've covered sort of the writing process and, and probably drilled into the home life more than Julia even ever wanted us to. And do you have any other questions that you really want to know about Rod, about Julia, about anything about what we're doing here?
Um, I'm just really excited that you are in the game. I mean, as a reader, I'm super excited because I'm looking to read more from you. And as an educator, I mean, oh my gosh, I'm like, this is the best thing ever. To be able to have writing that is not just timely, but that hits all the marks of the things that I'm trying to teach. So this is exciting. Thank you so much for submitting to this wonderful contest. It was a true joy to read your story. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Fantastic. I have a couple more questions before we fully wrap up here, but you kind of we talked about, where do you see yourself in 10 years, and we were talking about the careers. What what is your actual plan? Like you're approaching the end of high school, I think. Are you planning on going into, economics in order to pay the bills while you figure out the writing career? Or are you going to stay in Auckland? Are you going to go to university, or are you just going to kind of buckle down, stay at home and write until you get to sell a screenplay? Like, what's your plan in the immediate future in respects to sort of the creative aspects of your life and potential career?
Yeah, so it's all a bit uncertain. I'm a bit worried about the future, actually. But I'm hoping to audition for some drama schools in Australia because New Zealand is so small that our acting industry is really hard to like break into and actually make
Mm.
like a working career out of. So hopefully I'll get in somewhere in Australia, but it's very, very competitive. So I'll just have to see where that happens. But yeah, I'm planning to pursue acting, writing as well, and potentially directing because I think they all really work nicely together as creative elements. But yeah, I'm going to always continue to be writing short stories and poetry and maybe some longer length things as well. But yeah, depending on whether I get in for like acting somewhere or if I get in for like script writing somewhere, hopefully something creative I'll be able to do at university.
That's the dream, and I wish you the best on that. And just to clarify, it sounds like I think from what you said there, it sounds like acting is really your true passion. Like we're here to talk about writing, and most people that we get into with the writing thing, they're doing something else and they want to be writers. Sounds like you've got writing pretty well covered at the moment, and what you really want is to be acting and more in the sort of the cinema and the film industry. If that and maybe that does include writing, but is it acting that's closest to your heart here?
Oh, I'd say both acting and writing are kind of equal in my heart. They're both my like
Mom's sitting
main
just off
passion.
camera, very carefully listening to your answer here, is it?
Um, but I think what's really nice is both acting and writing have so much in common actually when you're looking at like character creation. And I think they both, being both a writer and an actor, has helped both my writing and my acting. Um, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think I know I take note of a lot of sh like TV show like shows and some movies that have like they're written and acted by like they're acted in by the writer who wrote it and often in some cases directed in some cases not. But I've been aware of a lot of movies kind of coming out and shows more recently that are sort of written and led by a specific person. So that's the way to go. Probably it sounds like for you. Wonderful. And finally, kind of my final question that I was asked is, you may feel like we are the award for the Elegant Literature Award for New Writers. You've won that award. You've been published with us 4 times, so you're kind of, you've come to the end of our sort of new writer training incubation kind of thing that we do here at Elegant Literature. And you're now kind of going off into pursuing other aspects. You're going to hit 18, enter other contests that open up to you, and what I can only assume is have a long and successful career. You may feel like you're sort of at the beginning of that right now. You may feel like you're still fairly new, but there are a lot of people who haven't had their first paid publication yet, who haven't won an award. And to them, you're kind of a couple of steps ahead. So, you are an award-winning author now. Congratulations. Like you could put that on your CV. You can introduce yourself, shake people's hands, say, I'm an award-winning author. Do you have any advice to give to people who might who are aspiring to be in a position that you are now? And I mean, you could give the advice, if you want to think about it, you could give the advice to yourself a year and a half ago when you were starting to, submit to Elegant Literature. Like, what would you tell that person who is just beginning to take their writing seriously and start submitting on a regular basis? What is a good, what can you tell them to inspire them or to help them stick with it or to get better faster?
Oh gosh, I feel like oh, I don't feel like, yeah, I'm not experienced enough to really be giving out advice. Um, I'd say probably just like write what you want to write. So I feel like sometimes I would fall into the trap of trying to just write something because it was like, oh yes, this sounds very smart, or like writing an idea that I wasn't really interested in, but I thought maybe it would be cool. So the best kind of stories I've written are ones that stories that I would like to read, stories that I've really enjoyed writing, and in those ones, the kind of my love for writing, I'd say, kind of helps those ones shine. So yeah, that would be my advice, I guess.
Excellent. Great advice. There's no wrong answer
Yeah.
there. I say it, I give it a lot of pressure on that because sometimes people go, oh, and then they come out with some brilliant nugget of truth, which you basically have.
Right.
So fantastic. And I'm sure that somebody watching this is going to hear that and it's going to be exactly what they need to hear. So wonderful. So that kind of brings us to the close of our conversation. Once again, Julia, congratulations. You won the $3,000 reward, and there's some other things that are coming along with that. We're going to stick around and talk about that, just you and I here. But congratulations. It's been so wonderful to meet you and to have the privilege of reading and publishing your stories. I'm really, really excited to continue reading what you do next.
Yes.
Thank you
Yeah,
so
same.
much.
Thank you so much for subbing. This is great.
Thank you guys both so, so much. This has been so cool, actually, getting to chat with you guys.
It's my favorite part of the job. I can tell you that much. Absolutely. And Rhonda, thank you so much. Has been a pleasure working with you. We're going to continue working together. You've done some education with elegant literature. You're going to do some more
Sure.
education with elegant literature. I just know it. And
Yes.
we love having you here. Before we go, is there anything that you're working on? And I know this video is not going to come out for a little bit longer than we might like, but is there anything that's coming out for you in the next couple of months this year that you want to tell people watching this to go check out? A new book, anything,
Oh, sure.
you
Yeah,
want to, this is your chance to plug a product that you want people to go, have a look at, maybe
yeah,
buy.
yes, thank you. Matter of fact, the pre-orders are open right now for a set of novellas, one of which will be mine, in the Pandy Press subscription box. And so in November, Brian Keene will be curating two books, and one of which will be the novella collection. And so I'm really excited about that. Like, I mean, to be in a book box with Brian Keene and Laurel Hightower, Gemma Moore, and Haley Piper. So those are up for pre-order right now on the Pandy Press website for November. So thank you so much for
Fantastic.
asking. And thank you for having me. Of course, I'm going to keep playing with elegant literature.
Yes, absolutely. Well, thank you, Rhonda. Once again, Julia, congratulations. Fantastic having you here. Looking forward to everything that you do next. Everybody watching this, thank you so much. It's wonderful to have you here. Go be like Julia, submit to Elegant Literature, have your work published, even if it takes a little while, but most importantly, be looking to improve your skill and write what you love. So we'll see everybody next time, and I look forward to reading your work in the submissions. Have a wonderful day, and we'll see both of you again hopefully soon.